तो बहुत, so there are many things that we take for granted कि we accept the reality of it and we think this is how it is. So we think that time is यही रेट पे गुजरता है जो हम, जिसके हम आदी है कि एक सेकंड में एक सेकंड जाती है, वही स्पीड है टाइम की, एक सेकंड में एक सेकंड, फिर और यही रेट पे ही टाइम चलता है, और ये ना रुकता है कभी, ना कभी पीछे जाता है, सिर्फ आगे ही बढ़ता है, समय सिर्फ आगे बढ़ता है। देयर इज नो, हम जब चलते हैं तो आगे जाते हैं, पीछे जाते हैं, लेकिन जब समय की बात होती है तो सिर्फ आगे जाता है। और ये ऐसा ही है, ये हमने जान लिया है, ठान लिया है, मान लिया है, और यही है समझते हैं। लेकिन समय का जो ये बहना है वो एक्चुअली एक मिस्ट्री है। जब साइंस इसको देखता है कि टाइम क्या है, तो एक तो ये पता चलता है कि टाइम का जो स्पीड है, जिस गति से टाइम चलता है, वो फिक्स नहीं है। हमें लगता है कि क्या फिक्स नहीं है, एक सेकंड में एक सेकंड ही जाता है, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है। इट डिपेंड्स ऑन वेयर यू आर, फॉर एग्जाम्पल। तो it also depends on how fast you are moving. So when something moves very near to the speed of light, speed of light जो है ये constant है यूनिवर्स में। In a vacuum the speed of light is about 300,000 kilometers per second। 3 लाख किलोमीटर एक सेकेंड में टाइम लाइट चलती है ये स्पीड पे। लेकिन जब भी कोई चीज या कोई भी एंटिटी उस स्पीड पे चलती है, और जब तेज होते जाती है, तेज होते जाती है, मान लो 50% ऑफ द स्पीड ऑफ लाइट, तो वो जो स्पीड पे जो चल रही है ऑब्जेक्ट, उसके लिए समय स्लो डाउन हो जाता है। दिस इज वन ऑफ द ट्रूथ्स प्रेडिक्टेड बाय द आइंस्टाइंस थियरी ऑफ रिलेटिविटी। टाइम स्लो हो जाता है। तो मान लो मेरा जुड़वा भाई है एक, वो एक रॉकेट शिप में बैठ के जाता है नियर द स्पीड ऑफ लाइट, or at the speed of light he goes somewhere, and he goes away for, let's say, 10 years, he goes away, then he comes back। तो 10 साल में मान लो मेरी उम्र, जब ही वो गया तभी मेरी उम्र 40 साल की थी। तो 10 साल के बाद, या मान लो 10 साल गया, 10 साल आने के लगे, तो 10 साल, 20 साल में मैं 40 से बढ़कर मेरी उम्र हो गई 60। बट बिकॉज he was traveling, my brother, my twin brother was traveling at this near the speed of light, or at the speed of light, his clock would have slowed down. His clock would not move at my speed. My speed is 1 second per second पे चलता है मेरी घड़ी, लेकिन उसकी घड़ी वो स्पीड पे नहीं चलती। That clock would have slowed down, and when he comes back after 20 years of my life, he may have aged only maybe 1 year. This is how it works. This is that because of the slowing down of time. If he had moved at the speed of light right from the beginning till he comes back, always at the speed of light, then he would not have aged at all. He would still be 40 years old physically. Matlab, it is not just that his clock would not have moved, his body would not have aged, his cells would not have moved, his cells would have moved slower or not at all, to a point where when he comes back, he has not aged even 1 second. He is still 40 years old. Meantime, I have become 60 years old. This is known in physics as the twin paradox. And this is because when objects move at the speed of light, time actually stands still. For light, time does not move at all. How amazing is that? कि टाइम जो हम सोचते हैं कि वो कांस्टेंट है, कहीं भी जाओ वही टाइम है, वैसा नहीं है. नॉट ओनली दैट, अराउंड मैसिव ऑब्जेक्ट्स जैसे अर्थ है, सन है, उसके आसपास ये मैसिव बॉडीज जो है, उसके आसपास भी टाइम स्लो हो जाता है. So, and when you go far from these massive objects, then time speeds up for them. So let's say there is a satellite next to me. एक satellite है, rocket. मेरे पास एक घड़ी है, दूसरी घड़ी मैंने वो satellite में रखी. दोनों घड़ी एकदम बिल्कुल मिला दी. They are synced up exactly to the micro nanosecond. They are in sync. फिर वो मैंने सैटेलाइट को छोड़ दिया हवा में, आकाश में, वो जाके वो पृथ्वी के आसपास ऑर्बिट कर रहा है. Then because of the movement of this satellite at almost 9,000 miles an hour, which is very slow actually compared to the speed of light, लेकिन फिर भी it's quite fast compared to me. So मेरी घड़ी जो मेरे हाथ में, which is not moving relative to the earth, and the satellite which is moving at around 9,000 miles an hour, then that clock will slow down a little bit by about 7 microseconds per day. Because I am on the earth, near the earth's gravity, my clock will slow down compared to that clock about 45 microseconds a day. So net effect is about 37 microseconds per day. My clock will be slow and satellite clock will be faster and will be moving at 37 microseconds per day का करेक्शन मुझे डालना पड़ेगा. तो समय भी जो मैं जो अभी कह रहा हूं, my now and the now for the satellite keeps on changing. So they have to actually, through the computer signals, keep on resetting the clock little every day for all the GPS satellites that are going around. Every day they have to correct the clock because it is moving and because it is far away from gravity. उसका clock अलग speed पे चलता है. So time is a mystery. It's a mystery. So abhi, what is now? Even that now is not known. What do we mean by now? Like when we look at the sky and we look at the stars, हमें लगता है कि जो भी हम देख रहे हैं अभी वैसा है, but वैसा नहीं है. Depending on how far away the star is, the light from that star right now, supposing that you're looking at one star and right now it is exploding. Supposing it is exploding. Supposing that star is exploding right now, you will not see that explosion for, let's say, जो पास का जो स्टार है अपना, it's called Alpha Centauri. The nearest star, of course, the closest star is the sun. The sun is also a star. But other than the sun, the nearest star is Alpha Centauri. So ये Alpha Centauri is about 4.37 light years away. मतलब लाइट को 4.5 साल लगते हैं वहां से यहां पहुंचने में. तो अगर अभी एक्सप्लोजन हुआ है वहां पर, वो पूरा एक्सप्लोड हो और मान लो वो भस्मी हो गया, मतलब है ही नहीं, तो वो एक्सप्लोजन हमें 4.5 साल के बाद दिखेगा, अभी नहीं दिखेगा। 4.5 साल के बाद हमें वो एक्सप्लोजन दिखेगा, क्योंकि वो एक्सप्लोजन की जो लाइट है उसको यहां अर्थ तक पहुंचते पहुंचते 4.5 साल लगेंगे। तो उसी हिसाब से जो अभी हमें दिख रहा है वो तारा, वो 4.5 साल पहले कैसा था वैसा हमें दिख रहा है, अभी कैसा है वैसा हमें नहीं दिख रहा है। और हर एक तारे के लिए वो डिस्टेंस अलग है। वो पास में पास जो है वो 4.5 साल दूर है, फिर उसके बाद जो है वो हो सकता है 20 साल दूर है, कोई 100 साल दूर है, कोई 1000 साल दूर है, कोई लाख साल दूर है, मिलियन साल दूर है। द फर्देस्ट गैलेक्सी दैट वी कैन पॉसिबली सी is 14,000 million years old, years ago. 14,000 million years, यानी since the beginning of time, जब से शुरू हो गया उतनी दूर से वो लाइट चली है और अभी अभी हमें पहुंच रही है इतने सालों के बाद। तो अभी उसका क्या है उसका, सो नाउ व्हेन यू लुक एट द स्टार, इट्स जस्ट अ प्योर इल्यूजन कि ये अभी ऐसा है। बिल्कुल ऐसा नहीं है अभी। एक जो पास में हो सकता है नहीं है, दूसरा जो है वो इतना चमक था उसका चमक हो सकता है बढ़ गया, एक हो सकता है एक्सप्लोड होके चला गया, एक हो सकता है अभी अभी फॉर्म हो रहा है। इट इज कंप्लीटली कंप्लीटली नॉट व्हाट वी सी। वी से ना सीइंग इज बिलीविंग, बट इट्स नॉट एट ऑल। सीइंग इज नॉट बिलीविंग, it is all just just a show, just a game, just an illusion, pure illusion. हमें लगता है कि ऐसा है लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है। नॉट, when you look at the sunlight is also 8 minutes old. So for example, even if right now the sun had some kind of a flare, let's say, तो 8 मिनट तक हमें नहीं दिखेगा, 8 मिनट के बाद हमें दिखेगा, और तब तक तो वो फ्लेयर बंद भी हो गया। And by the same token, if you are looking at the sun right now, when you see the sunrise, that sunrise is an 8 minute old sun that you are looking at. You are not looking at the sun right now. The sun as it is right now, you are not looking. You are looking as it was 8 minutes ago. It's just unbelievable. Even what you are seeing right now, even so, we are looking at each other, but we are not able to see each other even exactly right now. नहीं है ये. By the time, first of all, the light traveling from me to this camera through the internet to you, वो छोटा सा टाइम है, वो छोटा सा टाइम लैग है. Plus, add to that, there are actually literally, I forget, it's a few milliseconds, but it takes a few milliseconds for the light to enter your eyes and for your brain to process that image and for you to see whatever you're seeing. There's a finite few milliseconds have passed. So even when you see something, oh abhi ye ho raha hai, to wo abhi nahi ho raha hai, वो हुआ था, और तभी अभी आपको पता चल रहा है कि ये हुआ, but it was a few milliseconds ago. All information that we are processing is outdated. We are behind in terms of our perception, in terms of our understanding, our seeing what it is. So time itself is a mystery. And yet, if we ask ourselves, see, for the body, for the mind, for the thought, time is passing, at a particular speed, और वो भी एक mystery है. But for the inner you, the true self which stands, which is eternal, which is timeless. What do we mean when we say that the true self is timeless? What we are really saying is कि उसके लिए टाइम जैसी कोई चीज ही नहीं है. क्यों और कैसे हम कहते हैं? Why do we say that there is no time for the true self, for consciousness? There is no time because for consciousness there is nothing like the past. There is nothing like the future. It doesn't exist. And why do we say that it doesn't exist? So, any experience that has ever happened in your life, if you ask yourself, when did it happen? When? What was your experience of when it happened? Does anything happen yesterday? Does anything happen tomorrow? Everything at an experiential level, anything that is happening, if we really look, देखिए, lot of things we just take for granted. We think this is true and that's how we live. And for practical purposes, ये काम चल जाता है. But if we really want to understand what is reality, ये क्या है ये मामला, क्या है? Then we have to ask ourselves deeper questions. When does experience happen? Does experience, like any experience, think of something that happened when you were a child. Let's say, think of a moment when you got a toy that you wanted. You were a child and you got a toy that you wanted. Now, ordinarily we say, hi, this happened maybe 40 years ago or 30 years ago or whatever. But at the level of experience, when did it happen? हमें ऐसा नहीं लगता है कि ये कल ही हुआ था. It just happened. I was right there. I remember. Like so many moments, if I look back, I remember I was in 5th standard and I was reciting this poem at the school. You know, what was the poem? Uh, Will you walk into my parlor, said the spider to the you spy. If you'll only take a little peek just inside the door, you'll see some very curious things that you never saw before. So will you walk into my parlor, said the spider to the fly. ऐसी poetry थी, for which, you know, I recited and I won a prize and all that, because I got really nicely trained by my English teacher. So, but if I look at it, it's, you know, it just happened yesterday. Abhi to hua tha. It is so clear in my memory. It just happened. It didn't happen maybe, what is it, 40, 45, 50 years ago. ऐसा नहीं लग रहा है बिल्कुल. It just happened. So even look back in your memory, in your past, things when they happened. It seems like yesterday. And even further than that, it happened yesterday, but it actually, at an experiential level, if you ask yourself honestly, कि अनुभव के तौर पर हम अनुभव जो भी करते हैं कभी करते हैं, when do we experience whatever we experience? We only experience it now. We don't experience anything yesterday. We don't experience anything tomorrow. We don't experience anything last year. We only experience it now. हम now में experience करते हैं, then there's another now and now and now and now, and it is the same now. Is, you know, do we think that there are multiple nows which just come and go? No, there's only one now. The now in which we experience whatever we experience does not change. It is only the same now. The same now, something happens. The same now, something else happens. The same now, something else happens. The now doesn't change. So while the flow of time is at the surface level, लगता है कि time is passing. At the deepest level, time stands still. Time stands still. Time does not move. It only is always now. It only is always now, now, now. There is no other time, only now. Incidentally, what in physics now proven, for what aspect of the universe does time does not move? We know this through Einstein's theory of relativity, and it's been proven over and over and over, and it's been concluded completely without any shadow of doubt that it is true. What is it for which time does not move? It is light. For light, time does not move. It stands still. It slows down to a point where it does not move at all. If you were moving at the speed of light, for you, time would stop. So time would stand still for you. And here you are saying that at the level of experience of where जो मैं हूं, उसके लिए भी अनुभव के तौर पर यही है कि समय रुक जाता है. So, light on the one hand physics is telling us for light, time stands still. At the experience level, we are saying for me, for the I that I am, time also stands still. I mean, how big a step it is to know that you are light. You are that. You are light itself. The truth about you is the light that you already are. And for you, time does not move, just as it doesn't move for light, because you are light. No wonder it passed, but it was like today, because time actually didn't move for you at that level. So this is the mystery of time. That on one hand, time seems to be moving, and even physics tells us, and our experience tells us, that time is a complete mystery, which we do not have any clue of what it is. There is no way all across the universe there is one now. There is no such thing. We cannot do it. वो है ना. कुछ ना कहो, कुछ भी ना कहो, क्या कहना है, क्या सुनना है, मुझको पता है, तुमको पता है, समय का ये पल थम सा गया है, और इस पल में कोई नहीं है, बस एक मैं हूँ, बस एक तुम हो. So, समय का ये पल थम सा गया है. ये अनुभव क्यों होता है उन पलों में? When you are very much in touch with somebody, when you are very much connected with somebody, when you are sharing that same space, when you find yourself so much in an experience of love, in an experience of beauty, in an experience of truth, And when you are together in that moment, and this is only talking about maybe somebody who is in love in a couple, but it is universally true that whenever you are in touch with yourself, time slows down and time stops. समय का ये पल थम सा गया है. Why did this poet think of this? Because it is true. At an intuitive level, that poet has seen and experienced that time slows down. And we know this even in day to day life, right? When you are doing something which you are finding unpleasant or boring and you don't want to be involved with it, and you are totally not in touch with that inner core of your being, तो लगता है कि यार मैं ये I have been working on this thing for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. It's too long, too long. Time seems to be, matlab, time just dragging on and on. And at the same time, when you are engaged in something that you love, let's say you're reading a book which you are completely engrossed in, so that you, the being of you, is completely in the foreground, is in touch with this real experience of life. When you're in those moments, or you're with somebody that you really enjoy being with, you know, one day can go, 2 days can go, 3 days can go, and it feels like time is, you know, it's moved so fast. So this whole thing of time, जो एक solid and fixed लगता है हमें, there's nothing solid and fixed about time, which is, मतलब time को तो लगता है ये तो यार this is like the undeniable truth, but it is not like that. It's all flexible, it's all fluid. It moves according to your being, how closely in touch you are with your being. And at the level of being, time does not move at all. And everything happens in an instant, seems to happen in an instant. And when you're not in touch, time seems to stretch on and on and on. एक घंटा निकल गया, लेकिन if you're, let's say, waiting for a bus or waiting for a train, oh my God, only 10 minutes have gone, but you feel like 1 hour has passed. कितना time लगा दिया आते आते, if you are waiting for somebody. So समय का ये पल थम सा गया है, थम जाता है, समय थम गया. I think there's one other song also which captures this thought. Um, um, it's not coming, but there is one more song which talks about time standing still. Time stands still. Yeah. So it's all a wonderful mystery, wonderful paradox. On the one hand, there is only the now. And whereas in space and time, we cannot establish universal now anywhere. Everyone's now is different. And yet the true self, the one self, that is the experiencer of all there is only now. There is only one now. So when these beautiful, curious, amazing, wonderful बातें लेकर हम अगर जीते हैं, समझते हैं, जानते हैं, then life has a completely different flavor. You know, for example, you know, kids these days are bored, so इसमें ये सारी बातें हमें समझ में आती है. वैसी बातें लेकर सोचने का या उन बातों को लेकर समझने का उनमें वो ओपनिंग ही नहीं है, and naturally they get bored. But if you are engaged with such things, even a lifetime is not enough. Multiple lifetimes are not enough to experience what is, and to be continuously in the one sense of wonder. Wow, 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 wow. Har ek pal, uh, someone was asking me, I was talking to somebody late at night on yesterday or day before, you're आप सोए नहीं अभी तक? मैं बोला नहीं, अभी तक नहीं सोया, and not only अभी तक नहीं सोया, अभी सोऊंगा भी नहीं, और 2-3 घंटे में जाग भी जाऊंगा, because there's too much going on. There's too much to know, there's too much to read, there's too much to understand, there's too much to experience, too much to love, and too much to be, that on the one hand it seems like, I want to just be awake, and हर एक पल को पूरी तरह से हमें अनुभव करना है. And again, there's a paradox, because sleep is that experience itself. Sleep itself is the experience, the highest experience of when we drop everything and we are only the true essential self, that we are in touch with that. So it's all wonderful, it's all magic. And the sooner we realize that and live like that, the better off we are. वही जो मैं कभी आजकल बहुत बार याद कर रहा हूँ, वो जो गंगा सती जी का जो वाक्य है, बिजली ना झपकारे मोती पोरवीलो, just a flash. In just this flash, make the most of this life, make the most of this ability to feel, to think, to move, to see, to hear, to read, to sing, which we don't have when we are not in this body. So we want to make the most of it. And as long as we are making the most of it, that is what makes life जो मंगलमय जीवन यही है. मंगलमय जीवन वही है कि हम पूरी तरह से जी रहे हैं. वो जीवन का कॉन्टेक्स्ट क्या है, डजंट मैटर. कंटेंट क्या है, डजंट मैटर. आप गरीब है या अमीर है या जो भी है, it is fine. And of course, nothing wrong with being rich. It's much more convenient. But at the same time, no matter what it is, if you're living that life fully, then it is a life worth living. And उसी को मंगलमय जीवन कहेंगे, कि आप पूरी तरह से जो लाइफ है वो जी रहे हो या नहीं. So, and this is the message we need to pass on to the next generation. So Purushottam ji is very involved with the school and college in his town. So we are taking this message to the children in his town in November 14, 15, is it? Or 13, 14, 15?
13, 14, 15.
Yeah, 13, 14, 15 to the children and the school kids, the college kids, the teachers, the staff, to parents. So I think over the 3 days we'll be interacting with and speaking with easily more than 1,000 people, maybe 1,500 or so. Over those 3 days we'll be bringing this message, कि कोई ऐसा ना कह पाए कि मुझे किसी ने बताया ही नहीं. Often people who have discovered oneness, discovered non-duality, discovered Advaita, कहते हैं कि बचपन में किसी ने क्यों नहीं बताया ये सब मुझे, तो मेरा लाइफ कुछ और होता. Not that you don't study, not that you don't do a business, not that you don't make money or get married, have children. All that is fine. But if I knew कि this is what life is about, that this is the context of living fully, of being in love, being in fullness, being in oneness, if I had known that, then my experience of everything that I did in my life would have been different. और मैं जब छोटा था तब तो किसी ने बताया ही नहीं. Neither my teachers nor my parents nor the professors told me. They told me about, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 and Na plus Cl equals NaCl, which is salt. But nobody told me who I am. Nobody told me who everyone is. Nobody told me what everything is. That it is all one and it is all just manifesting as different forms. And that to experience and return to that oneness is the entire joy and the purpose of our entire existence. This was never explained in so many words. So through this, at least we are beginning, thanks to Purushottamji and Dr. Datta, Swarup Datta, we are going to be bringing this message to at least 1,000 or maybe 1,500 children and the teachers, about, so that at least when they grow up, they cannot say that किसी ने मुझे बचपन में नहीं बताया. हम बताने जा रहे हैं उनको कि this is what it is about. Now you continue your studies and whatever, but know what this whole thing is, what the purpose is, what is your life for, what is life itself for, who you are. Asking that question, raising that question, understanding and making this life an expression of joy rather than looking for happiness everywhere. Making life an expression of happiness rather than a search for happiness. What a small difference it is, but it is life-changing. And imagine if we all had known all this when we were little children. Our lives would also have been different. But never too late, because ultimately time is a mental construct. So now is a good enough time. So now is just fine. We are not going to sit back and regret aisa hota tha. But now is now, and now we know. So now move on. So it's a huge opportunity that has come up, and then hopefully from there it will spread to other schools, other colleges. So sometimes these big changes, big revolutions happen and start only a lot of times in small places, in small, in humble beginnings. We think कि ऐसी कुछ बात है तो या बम्बई में या दिल्ली में शुरू होनी चाहिए और वहां से, not necessary. It will happen in this small town. What is the name? Malkapur. Malkapur. Yeah, small town called Malkapur, a name I'd never even heard all these years. But now this is going to be the beginning of a major movement within consciousness for children. So I'm really excited about this next new project, and anyone who is available to join us, definitely anyone from the Open Door family, please come, because each interaction will be with maybe 600 children at a time. So even just managing the logistics and all that is going to be interesting. So the more of us that
it will be a feast. It will be a feast being with Sanjivji for 3 days. I invite everyone.
Great. So everyone is invited. Malkapur, put it on your map. The nearest airport, I guess, is Nagpur. And railway से तो मलकापुर ट्रेन में तो आता ही है, on the मुंबई कलकत्ता मुंबई हावड़ा line पे मलकापुर आता है, and nearest airport is Nagpur. So everyone is invited, and it'll be a wonderful 2 or 3 days together. In fact, we can call this only the retreat. A retreat, one retreat before the next retreat on 24th. Which will be somewhere near Mumbai. I've decided we are not going to travel far from Mumbai. It will be in the Mumbai, within driving distance from Mumbai. So everyone can plan accordingly. Great. So anyone else who has not been here before? Rita ji, I think Rita Shah, she's been here before. Have you been here? Okay. Mute pe hai.
He can unmute.
She can unmute. Okay. All right, great. So any thoughts, questions about this whole mystery called time? I was reading a book by Coelho, is his last name. What is his first name? Uh, of course, there's a book called A Brief History of Time. Huh?
Paul Coelho.
No, it's not Paul Coelho. It's somebody else. I'm forgetting the name. But of course, A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. That's an amazing book about this mysterious thing called time, which we take for granted. And by the way, in a lot of the equations of physics, the dimension of time itself cancels out. So then there is no reason time it's possible. Who knows? We will one day see some time machines also.
Stephen Hawking.
And where we can. Stephen Hawking is A Brief History of Time.
Yeah.
And there's a recent book, Covello. I'll find it. But which I also read. So great. But so one question nobody's asking, but the one question you could be asking is, usme, like, how does it matter to know all this? क्योंकि at a practical level तो ये घड़ी जैसे चलती है वैसे ही चलती है. Since thousands of years it has only moved forward. As far as my life and your life is concerned on this planet, वो तारे पे क्या हो रहा है, वो चंद्रमा के क्या हो रहा है, वो सब हमें क्या लेना देना. ये तो हम तो धरती पर जी रहे हैं भाई, हम तो यही समय है हमारे लिए. समय इज अ फिक्स थिंग. तो उसको जानकर हम क्या करेंगे? सो I think I already talked about it, but that I hope that question is also answered. Is it answered or not answered? Why do we need to know all this? Or what difference does it make? So, couple of things, right? One is knowing this. How can you sweat over the small stuff? How can you sweat over small stuff? कि अरे आज सर में दर्द है या आज वो काम वाली नहीं आई, ये बातों को लेकर क्या? I mean, when this mystery of time is staring you in the face and you are in awe of this amazing truth about the universe and reality, ये छोटी छोटी बातें जो हमें परेशान करती है, कैसे हमें परेशान कर सकती है? कर ही नहीं सकती, क्योंकि हम लगे हुए. It also reminds me of a joke. I think I may have shared this joke also before, where this this couple who has been married for some 50 years, they've been married, and they're celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary, and everyone's giving them congratulations and wow, you've had such a wonderful 50 years together. तो आपकी ये जो खुशी है साथ में ऐसे इस तरह तालमेल से जीने की, उसका राज क्या है? व्हाट इज द सीक्रेट ऑफ द हैप्पीनेस इन योर मैरिज? तो कहता है नहीं, हमारी बस हमने सब कुछ बांट लिया है, बराबर बराबर बांट लिया है, सारी बातें हमने बांट ली है. एंड वी शेयर द होल, ऑल द एवरी प्रॉब्लम इज spread out, shared between us. And so that's why we don't have any conflicts. So acha, so like how you shared? So yeah, she, मेरी वाइफ जो है वो स्कूल की फीस कब भरनी है, फिर ये चेकबुक कब बैलेंस करना है, घर में क्या कम है, क्या लाना है, कब लाना है, ये सब प्रॉब्लम वो देखती है. अच्छा, तो आप क्या देखते हैं? मैं ये सोचता हूँ कि हु शुड बी द प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया, हु शुड बी द प्रेसिडेंट, हाउ शुड रशिया एंड यूक्रेन सॉल्व द कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. ऐसी सब प्रॉब्लम मैं देखता हूँ, बाकी वो देखती है. But that's just a joke. But the point is that when your being, your mind, your आपका attention, आप when you are aware of who you are, when you are aware that this body and this brain, this mind is just nothing, and that the real you is the one which is light itself, which is for whom time stops. हाँ, वो क्या था? अरे यार, शाहरुख खान एंड दिस, मैं ठहरा रहा जमी चलने लगी. Yeah, how does it start? What is it? सूरज हुआ मध्यम, चांद जलने लगा, आसमां ये हाय क्यों पिघलने लगा. So all this
क्या बात.
सूरज हुआ मध्यम, चांद जलने लगा, आसमां ये हाय क्यों पिघलने लगा. मैं ठहरा रहा जमी चलने लगी, धड़का ये दिल सांस थमने लगी. हाँ, क्या ये मेरा पहला पहला प्यार है सजना, क्या ये मेरा पहला पहला प्यार है. हाँ, है खूबसूरत ये पल, सब कुछ रहा है बदल, सपने हकीकत में जो ढल रहे हैं. क्या सदियों से पुराना है रिश्ता ये हमारा, कि जिस तरह हमसे तुम मिल रहे हैं, यूं ही मिलो हमसे नम जन्म जन्म. ना 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 ना, प्यार का मौसम. मैं ठहरा रहा जमी चलने लगी, धड़का ये दिल सांस थमने लगी. हाँ, क्या ये मेरा पहला पहला प्यार है सजना, क्या ये मेरा पहला पहला प्यार है. या तो ये ऐसी जब जादू वाली बातें होती है, ये जादुई बातें जब होती है, जब कि सूरज हुआ मध्यम. सूरज कैसे मध्यम हो गया भाई? लेकिन होता है. चांद जलने लगा, चांद तो एक, चांद पे टेम्परेचर क्या है पता है? माइनस 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 हाउ मेनी डिग्रीज, और वो जलने लगा. सो दिस मैजिक, मैं ठहरा रहा जमी चलने लगी, ये समय का ये पल थम सा गया. ऑल दिस मैजिक हैपेंस व्हेन यू आर इन, यू नो, ये जो रोमांस है वो एक बहाना है. व्हाई पीपल लव रोमांटिक लव? व्हाई डू पीपल लव टू बी इन लव विथ somebody? Why is that feeling so precious and so beautiful and so ये करोड़ों रुपए, करोड़ क्या, हजारों करोड़ रुपए यही थीम को लेकर, of romance, of love. Because in that moment when you are with that one person, it becomes an excuse to forget yourself. You forget yourself and time stands still. And if you have forgotten yourself and time stands still, guess what becomes present? God becomes present. The divine becomes present. And that is why it is so important. That is why it is, लोग अपनी जान गवा देते इस प्यार वाले बातों में. क्यों? Because it is as important as life and death, and as important as divinity itself. But the slight, जो एक sleight of hand कहो, एक magic trick है, where we think that experience of divine is coming from that other person. It's not. It's you are coming in touch with yourself, and that other person is simply a vehicle or a means or या एक बहाना है जिसके जरिए आप अपने आप तक पहुंच गए, because you've forgotten yourself in that love for that other person. You've forgotten yourself and you have come in touch with yourself. So the only slight adjustment, the slight misunderstanding, somebody said yesterday, there are only mystics or there are mistakes. And if you are a mystic, all mystic means is you see reality for what it is. If you don't see reality for what it is, then all that remains is a mistake. And the reality of romance is that it is only एक बहाना है जिसके जरिए आप अपने आप से मिल गए. समय रुक गया, समय थम गया, मैं ठहरा रहा, जमी चलने लगी. ये क्यों हुआ? Because through the presence of that person. So the mistake is to think that it is that other person which is creating that divine experience. The divine experience is there everywhere, anywhere, at any moment, completely and immediately and continuously available. Yes, that is one easy way to reach that same place, but it is not the only way. There are thousands and millions and millions and millions and millions of ways to reach that same place within yourself. And worst is when you somehow get stuck on that other person ki uske bina main ji nahi sakti. It's not that. It's not that. There are a million ways to find that same truth, that same love, that same beingness which you are. And yes, I mean, through that also, there's nothing wrong with finding it in that way. No, that is not the source. The source is the universal one source, which is only one, which is you, which is I, with the I. And you can reach it anyway. Music, meditation, bhakti, seva, karma yoga, dance, art, love in any way, in any form. Love for anyone, love not just for that one romantic partner, but love itself. And that becomes the way. So that is why it's important that when you're occupied with this, when you are in touch with this, how can you worry about the small things that are just, don't sweat the small stuff. There's a book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And this is the way how you don't sweat the small stuff. क्योंकि आप उतने जुड़े हुए हैं with the bigger stuff that the small stuff just takes care of itself. The small stuff just takes care of itself. And that is the magic that's possible. Wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is something also we must convey to the teenagers about this, relationships, that this is the crux of it. Don't get hung up. People, these young kids commit suicide and all that, thinking that, अरे वो नहीं मुझे देख रही है या वो मुझे नहीं देख रहा है, मैं गया. It's such a fallacy and a waste. It's a shame that people give up their lives, this beautiful body, because of such misunderstanding. So we will bring that also. So great, wonderful. Look forward to seeing everyone on Thursdays.
Sanjeev,
And Nancy.
yeah. मेरा camera open नहीं हो रहा है, I guess. Just please.
No problem. No problem. Acha, camera is not opening. You can't see me or we can't see you?
No, I'm not able to. Yes. Yes. So इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि ये सारी चीजें पहले से हो चुकी है और अब सारी चीजें हम फील कर रहे हैं, एक्सपीरियंस कर रहे हैं.
Not that way. Not that way.
Not that way.
It is everything happening in the now. Everything is happening now. There is only now. Everything is only happening now. At an experience level, there is no past. There is no future. There is only now, now, now. Only now is happening. So worrying about the past does not make sense. Regretting the past doesn't make sense. Worrying about the future doesn't make sense. There is only now. Just be in the now, the eternal now. But we'll continue. Next time ye question leke aana, because I know there's still some question left for you. So we'll talk more about this next time. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Thank you.